Hey everybody! So today we're going to talk about Draconic Charts. I've been doing a lot of past life and karmic stuff for people recently, a lot of client work, and so Draconic Charts have already been on my mind when I do past life and karmic readings. I do it in report form. Part 1 deals with the most recent previous lifetime tied to this one from the Natal chart lens, and then Part 2 deals with the Draconic chart. So this has already been on my mind quite a bit, but I've also, from like 4 people, I've been getting questions about the Draconic chart and about how I work with it, or resources that I might know of that might help them learn. And I gotta be honest, there isn't a whole lot out there. Some of the stuff that is out there, I'm not crazy about, but again, to each their own. Work with this however you want. It's also abstract as it is. I'm not saying that that anybody's wrong. I'm just saying that it's not how I work with it. I've kind of taken things and applied them in different ways some of the time. So I don't really have any resources other than kind of verbally or writing it out, kind of how I do it. But so I figured I would add on to the last video that I made about Draconic charts. I will link it below because that video actually will go into like how the Draconic chart is set, all of this kind of stuff. I'm not going to go into that in this video, but check it out. It'll be linked below if you didn't catch it before. It was like 6 months ago that I did this. So I figured I'd add on to it today. And I also want to throw out a disclaimer that I don't really give a shit if you think that Draconic charts are bullshit. I know that people do. I know that, well, not everybody, but I know that there's some people that have strong opinions about this. They think it's a bunch of bullshit. They don't think anybody should work with it because they don't like it. You know, some of those kind of people that if they don't do it, nobody else can. You know, assholes like that. Overwhelmingly, the comments that I got in the last video were nice and were like asking questions and talking about things, adding to the conversation, but there were a couple cocksuckers that decided to, I think they're bullshit. I don't give a fuck. I really don't. I don't care. I don't care. So if you leave comments like that, they will get ignored. I'm just throwing that out there. I'm not the kind of bitch that wants to sit and argue with anybody online about, like, I'm not trying to change your mind. I'm just trying to throw out information out there. If you don't like it, if you're not interested in it, you should just quit watching now. But if you're still here and you're interested, Draconic charts. Okay, so you can totally look at the Draconic chart as a standalone chart. You can totally look at it by itself. It'll give you an idea, like the Draconic chart is thought of as like the chart of the soul. I think of it as like the chart of the soul in the in-between lives, in this realm, in this dimension on Earth. Kind of the baseline, if you will, of the person's soul, how it naturally functions when it's not in human form with a natal chart, with a natal chart character that it's playing. And we are all characters in this game called life. I do think that, in a way, we are. So when we don't have those characters on that we're playing, those roles that we're playing, we are our Draconic chart. Now, the Draconic chart is thought to function kind of as an undercurrent, though, in each incarnation as well. Like, so, regardless of what your Draconic sun, regardless of what your natal sun, natal moon, all that shit is, the Draconic chart will kind of function as an undercurrent. It can help make sense. Like, let's say in your natal chart you have you got a lot of air, and let's say you've got a lot of air, a lot of fire in your chart, but you are a more grounded person, or you feel like you are, and you can't really make sense of it, a whole lot of sense of it. The Draconic chart can help make sense of that. Like, let's say you had a lot of planets in earth signs, and even in houses that have an affinity for earth signs. It might help explain why you feel more grounded. Like, that grounding functions as an undercurrent, if you will. That's just an example, but that's kind of, it does function as an undercurrent. So it might help to explain things about yourself that maybe aren't quite as explainable by way of the natal chart alone. It can. But the way that I really like to work with Draconic charts, I mean, you can certainly, and I encourage you all to do this if you're interested in this. Definitely look at the Draconic chart by itself. But the way that I really feel like it's the most beneficial to the person is to look at it up against the natal chart. Like, I mean, because it's really cool to look at what the chart of your soul might look like, right? It is very cool, but it does function as an undercurrent, so it's not going to be as in your face, right? So the way that you can get the most benefit from looking at the Draconic chart really is to look at it up against the natal chart. And I think, and I mentioned this in the last video, I do think that when you see planets, I'll show you an example of a Draconic chart to a natal chart. The natal chart is on the inside, the Draconic chart is on the outside. And you'll see that there are some conjunctions, like the Draconic moon is conjunct Chiron. The Draconic Mercury is conjunct Venus. These kinds of, so I would look at those conjunctions. And to me, that's the natal planet gives the Draconic planet a vehicle to shine through, to come through. Which, depending on what's going on, right, and depending on what the person wanted to learn in this lifetime, might be a difficult thing, or it might be really good. It just depends on what this person wanted to learn in this particular lifetime. But it does give that natal, it does give that Draconic planet, the natal planet gives the Draconic planet a vehicle in which to shine through and come through, and hopefully be used to its highest possible capacity from the Draconic chart via the natal chart. Now, one thing I didn't mention when I look at the comparison between the two, I do like to, and just Draconic charts in general, I do like to look at the Draconic Ascendant and the Draconic chart ruler. I think these are important to look at up against the natal chart. The natal ascendant is like it's your natural temperament. It's the way that you naturally approach the world, these sorts of things. So the Draconic Ascendant can kind of be thought of as how you do this in the in-between. What is the most natural way for you to function? And sometimes you'll see like the Draconic Ascendant conjunct a natal planet. Sometimes that can be really, really, really nice because it is so natural. That Draconic Ascendant is so natural as an undercurrent that having a natal planet conjunct it can be really nice, a really nice vehicle for that natural, instinctual, intuitive way of operating in the in-between, and as an undercurrent to shine through. Depending on what is going on with that natal planet, though, it also could be a source of difficulty. It just kind of depends on what is going on with both charts as to how that goes. And the same thing goes for the Draconic chart ruler. Since the chart ruler is you by way of first disposition in the natal chart, same thing is the case with the Draconic chart. The Draconic chart ruler would be you by first disposition. So it's very important to look at too. The midheaven is another one that's important. I think of the midheaven as like the highest and most idealized version of oneself, who one wanted to be when they grew up or grow up. So this kind of is the same thing, but across all incarnations, as an undercurrent, all incarnations, and like the highest and most idealized version of the soul. That's kind of how I would think about the Draconic midheaven. So I would definitely see if that happens to be conjunct a natal planet, right? That natal planet is a vehicle for which the Draconic midheaven to shine through in this lifetime. So it would be really important that you get that natal planet right. Put that in quotes because that's going to be different for everybody. But that you function from that natal planet in the best possible way. So that the highest and most idealized version of the soul can come through. I definitely do like to look at the conjunctions most between draconic and natal planets in the comparison. And you can pull the comparison on astro.com. It's down towards the bottom of the list. I do think that the conjunctions are the most dynamic. Now, another way that I like to look at, another thing that's really cool to look at with draconic charts, if you pull, because like we have progressions in natal charts. There are secondary progressions and there are solar arcs. I prefer solar arcs actually myself, but you can use either one. Pulling the solar arcs against the draconic chart, or pulling your secondary progressions up against the draconic chart. There's not actually a way to do this on astro.com, or I don't really think I could be wrong. I don't really think anybody has this kind of software. So you might just have to look at like your solar arc chart up against the draconic chart. And because as we move through life, okay, I think of the natal chart. The natal chart is like the base model of a car. It's always going to exist. We are always our natal chart, right? It's always us. But things progress through life. That kind of change things, but that base model is always there, right? Base model always functions. It's always there. But it is kind of cool to look at the chart of the soul up against, or what is thought to be the chart of the soul up against your solar arc chart for right now, or up against secondary progressions. And I actually came across something really interesting somewhat recently. I'll show you what I mean. Let me grab the picture. Okay. So this is somebody's draconic chart. We've got the sun at 13 something Cancer. We've got Jupiter at 1806 Cancer. And then the moon is at 1617 Cancer. I'm just throwing those out there because I'm going to show you something. There's no way to do an actual like synastry comparison. But, okay, so that's the draconic chart, right? So I was pulling their solar arcs. Take a look at this. Their solar arc for this particular day, when something kind of pivotal happened in their life, or it seems like it was. Their moon was at 1617. Their solar arc moon was at 1617 Cancer. Their solar arc sun was at 1341 Cancer. Their solar arc Jupiter was at 1806 Cancer. So the draconic chart and the solar arc chart were exactly the same. Now, I've been sitting with this for a while thinking that's really interesting, that they happen to be in a period of their life when they made a change, they didn't actually stick with this change, but when they made this change, I won't go into detail, but they made a change in their life. It happened to be at the same time that their solar arcs were exactly like their draconic chart. And the only reason why I know why I even was looking at all of this is because I was doing some past life work for them. And was pulling solar arcs for something else. And I was like, holy shit, this is really weird. It makes me think that if you happen to, and not everybody will have this happen, right? Not everybody will. But if you happen to, say, pull your solar arc chart and you notice that it's damn near the same as your draconic chart or your secondary progressions, and it's damn near the same as the draconic chart, it makes me think that you're probably in a period of your life where you are functioning the most like your soul functions. In the in-between, at a base, or not at a base, at an undercurrent in this lifetime. Like, it's just all very natural. It just seems like it'd be a very interesting time in one's life. Now, I would say the same, I would say something similar but different. Like, let's say you pulled your solar arcs or your progressions and you noticed that they were exactly opposite the Draconic chart. Or they happen to be. I might think that in that case, you might be in a period of your life where you are functioning drastically different than what the undercurrent in this lifetime is like, or what the chart of your soul is like, or how it naturally functions. So that could be uncomfortable just because of that difference. Now, at the same time, like in this person's case, where the solar arc chart is exactly the same as the Draconic chart, there could also be an uncomfortableness because there's a rawness there. If the Draconic chart is like the chart of the soul, and in solar arcs, it lines up exactly the same. There's no longer there. It's like you're not playing a character at this point. That's kind of gone. It's just very raw. Like it's very, this is who I am kind of thing. Take me as I am. There's nothing to really hide anything, if that makes sense. It's just all out there. But I feel like a lot of really cool shit could be done during that period, if you let it happen. I think it could. I think it could. And yeah, it doesn't last. These sorts of things don't last that long. So I would definitely, if you notice that that's going on for you or for somebody else, I would definitely grab that shit and take it by the balls and run with it. And that would depend on, what all is going on in the Draconic chart, in the solar arc chart, or in the secondary progression chart. That would all depend, but I would definitely think it would be an important time in one's life. Same thing with the solar arc chart or the progress chart, secondary progression chart, being opposite the Draconic chart. I would think that would also be an important time in one's life, just for different reasons. Anyway, I'm gonna get going. But I will put where you can find me below in the description box and all that stuff. Okay, I will see y'all later.